Hello, hello, hello. Why is there oranges all over the Twitter timeline? I don't know what you're talking about. I must have missed it, but I've not really been checking Twitter, to be quite honest. In the last few days to weeks, nothing too interesting anywhere, so might have just missed it. I also don't follow that many people, so I cannot help you with that one. Yeah. Finally, I have a little bit to talk about. Did we talk before this crash last week? We did. Last week's stream was before the breakdown. Cool. Did I call it? Jeez, my memory is so bad. I actually don't know. Did I say it was gonna break down or did I not? I don't know. Shill No Crypto says yes. Well, I'll take the credit, even though I don't remember. You said 40k next week. I'm sure that is not true. That's something I know, but I don't know if I was bearish or not. You were cautiously bearish. Fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, now it broke down. So that's a little bit to talk about, which is cool. Finally, a little bit of movement. But yeah, so we'll talk about that. We can talk about some altcoins, not too many. Don't think there's too much going on in that space. And then we'll call it a day or do Q&A, whatever. How is your trade done? Which trade? Because I'm not in a single trade right now. I hope. But you seem to know better than I do. But yeah, before we start the stream or the show or whatever you want to call this, big shout out to Woo for sponsoring, I would say, the show. Their links are in the description. Go check them out. They're cool people doing cool things. And I rarely say this in crypto. So yeah, there you go on that front. Hope you guys are doing well. It's been very hot all around the world lately. I've seen a lot of fires everywhere, so hope you guys are doing okay and not dying of the heat. Hi Don, what do you think of getting exposure to Coinbase stock instead of spot Bitcoin? It's much easier in my country. I mean, if you're bullish on Bitcoin, you can buy coin. Yeah, I don't think it's the worst idea. Like, as long as you're bullish. If you're not bullish, you obviously don't want to be buying coin. Hi Doc, Duck, long question. Why do you and Cred keep saying after big movements how 200 million longs were liquidated? Some people just closed their positions, not all were liquidated. I'm guessing you can, like, Cred always says this, I'm not like a data nerd, I don't care. So it's a better question to ask him. But in general, you can see how many people were liquidated on some dashboards. I don't know if he checks there or not. I really don't check. I don't care too much. Like, at the end of the day, whether people get liquidated or not doesn't really change the trading environment for me. But I'm like a zero IQ, just trade my lines and gut feeling kind of guy. So like, I don't even know why people listen to me. I'm just I look at this thing and I'm like, oh, this is bullish, or oh, this is bearish, and that's it. And there's not that much more to it. So if you want the reasonable stuff, don't talk with me, because I'm anything but reasonable. But yeah, that's that. Let's quickly run through the time frames and then see where we're at. Okay. Monthly time frame almost hit support on BitMEX. On other exchanges, obviously not. BitMEX liquidated quite a bit lower. I'm always, like, when I'm thinking about this, right, I'm always in between thinking that that's a good thing and a bad thing, right? So for example, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, if you're trading on BitMEX, right, is this wicking much lower than other exchanges good for you as a trader or bad for you as a trader? Obviously, very much depends on whether you're in a position or not. If you're not in a position and you're just kind of like there to take advantage of this kind of stuff, could be a good thing, right? You get a little bit more of a discount. If you're in a position, it's a horrible thing. So, I mean, that's kind of been the story in a lot of places where you trade nowadays, where you get just liquidation cascades that go lower than on other places. BitMEX is one of the main offenders, but also Deribit did the same thing. Like as long as you're not trading on the main exchanges or on exchanges that source liquidity from them, yeah, this stuff can happen. For me, given I like trading wipeouts, this is actually something that I would back in the day look forward to. But yeah, I think it depends. Is it just me or does the audio keep going out? I hope that's just you, but let me know, guys, whether the audio is okay or not. On my end, it looks okay. Should be okay. Nothing bad on that. Like at least showing up on my OBS. Audio good as always. Yeah, dude, the audio thing just drives me nuts. I'm pretty sure there's like a chat group of like 200 people. They're like, oh, Don is streaming again. Let's just harass him by telling him that the audio is bad, even though it's not. It's their main goal in life, just to get me to check the audio every single time. But I mean, maybe it's a conspiracy. I don't know. But it does feel like that. Anyway, monthly time frame. Nothing really interesting there. The one thing that you want to be watching is basically, do we close this month above 27.2? And this is BitMEX prices. They're different from Binance prices. Binance is 27.3, right? So there's a $200 difference-ish. Don't ask me why. I'm too lazy to check. I'm such a good YouTuber. Don't care about anything. Just care about if I can buy it cheap or not. Terrible. Is what it is, though. I mean, it's not like this show costs anything, right? Like, you get something for free. That's the kind of quality you get. Zero fact checking. But yeah, it is what it is, though. So yeah, that's the monthly time frame. The weekly time frame is pretty much in the middle of my whatever market that I lined out months ago. And that's kind of shitty, right? Because the whatever market is shit to trade. And every time I look at the market, like yesterday I was looking at the market, I was like, oh, maybe there's going to be something interesting. And then I look on the weekly, I see my whatever market sign there. I'm like, okay, Don, just sit the fuck back down and just leave it alone, because this is not the market you want to be trading. So that's what I did. Today it went up a little bit, but there's no high time frame reason for this to go up or down. It's mostly just low time frame stuff, and that's not where my edge is, right? So I try to hold back on that front and just chill whenever it's this ambiguous. And one thing of note, right? We had a good day today, but also the stock markets had a good day, right? So I want to see at least like a week or two where Bitcoin actually shows strength in spite of the traditional markets, or just outperforms for a while in general. We haven't had that in a while, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, because when you have Bitcoin go up 1% or 2 or 3, and the S&P goes up 2 or 3%, like that's just because, I mean, that's just a bunch of people copy trading the S&P. That's not native crypto strength. And if anything, we've had crypto weakness, like native crypto weakness in the last few weeks, even though we've had really good news. So we're like stuck in a shitty place, stuck in a shitty trading range. And yeah, I keep telling myself like, hey, I don't need to trade this. And it keeps being the correct choice, right? Because even if you have like a good position, you pay to get in the position, you pay to get out of the position, and you pay funding most of the time. And that's just not really worth it right now. Jagger says, I'm so bored of crypto. I bought Roblox stock today. Does that even exist still? I didn't even know. Hi, Doug. Have you read any trading book? Any recommendation? Learned a lot from you and Cred. I have read a few, but I don't really have recommendations. They're more entertainment for me than anything else. I think in general, what you have to do to kind of get good at trading is just trade a bunch and then figure out what works for you and what doesn't. And that doesn't have to be whatever works for me, right? And it's most certainly doesn't mean you have to do whatever anyone in a trading book writes. Because if you write a trading book, more often than not, you write it because whatever you write in it doesn't have edge, or because you're just like, well, I want to retire, right? As in, like, you're someone with outdated knowledge or someone with something that's not really worth anything, in my opinion anyway. More often than not. Some people have a passion for this thing, and they're happy to kind of give away their secrets, but it's not really how it works, right? Like, if you have something that works, unless it's like very, very, like, everyone can do it and it's still valid, as in like high time frame stuff, for example, for me, like, no matter how many people I tell that I'm trading the monthly time frame, it's not changed a single thing over the years, right? If I would notice that changes the way the market behaves, I wouldn't be talking about it anymore. Just based on the fact that the more people know whatever the fuck you're doing, the less of an edge you have, right? If you're capturing anything on the low time frames, especially, if there's actually any edge in what you say, you're gonna have less of it. In my opinion, anyway. Maybe there's some people out there that make a bunch of money in the low time frames and talk about it. But I'm just asking myself why, right? Like, you wouldn't want to. Good part about the high time frame stuff is that people are just too lazy to do it. So I can talk about it and no one does it anyway. And then it just kind of still works. I'm living a trading book, so I'm alright in the future, so that I don't gotta read any. Yeah, I mean, maybe there's something there. I've read a bunch and they were entertaining, but anything that tells you, like, the chart patterns and stuff, it's all bullshit, in my opinion. Like, that's all bullshit. Yeah, I just don't see it. I've looked at it. I've tried to make sense of it, but the way they trade chart patterns is like basically, or the way they teach you to trade chart patterns, right? Like, they're like, this is like, let's say we went up, this is head and shoulders, whatever. So you should be shorting the moment it breaks down below the shoulder. Like, that's a shit trade almost all the time. If anything, you short here with an invalidation around the highs and target here. And then people kind of provide you exit liquidity out of your trade by shorting this breakdown that more often than not is not one. Because by definition, you basically short the range low. It's just stupid. I don't get it. And there's a lot of these kind of patterns where people are like, yeah, this is good trading stuff. I don't get it. I've not found it to be useful. If anything, I try to take advantage of people that trade that way, right? Like, I see a bunch of people that are gonna take a dumb trade based on dumb reasoning, and then I can take advantage of it. But yeah, the weekly time frame, we are back at the ETF news level. I always feel dumb when I'm saying it because technically it's not really news. BlackRock just announced it, that they want one. But I don't know how to say it otherwise, so I'm just going to keep saying it. Technically, we're back at the level, and we really shouldn't have gone there. Like, we didn't have the ETF denied, but we still went all the way back to where it was announced. So either you're getting the biggest discount here of all time, or we're going to get shitty news. And I'm kind of like, I'm 50-50 on it. But I don't like the weakness, right? So even if we get an ETF, there's a chance that we're just going to go to 32 to 35K given the recent weakness, right? Like this is crypto specific weakness. People are very willing to sell, and it could be that people just start selling again at 32, 34, 35 if we get ETF approved. If we get it denied, we're going to go, I think, to 19K, like somewhere in this box. That's kind of what I'm looking at. ETF denied, look to buy like 19.4. ETF approved, look to buy as soon as I can after the news hit and sell into 32 to 35. That's kind of my going rate right now. I mean, that's a pretty nice trade to the upside. That's like 30%. I'm down, and then see where it goes from there, right? Because I think even if, let's say we rally and we go to 35 and I sell and it just goes vertical, I think we're going to retest that on a pullback, and then I can just get back in. And if it does what crypto has been doing in recent time, it goes up on good news, and then it notices no one is buying, then could just come back into the range and range some more. But yeah, I don't have strong views right now other than wait for the ETF, right? That is the biggest thing that you can do. Low time frame trades are there, right? Yesterday we had a attempted breakdown that didn't do anything, and that's where the last two 4-hourly candle comes from, right? Like a bunch of people shorting a possible breakdown that didn't materialize while the S&P goes up, right? That's like the S&P goes up into this kind of setup, you usually get a little bit of a squeeze. I thought you buy the rumor, sell the news though. Like the reason why this doesn't apply in this case, right? And I'm a big proponent. Is that the right word? I think it is. Well, I'm so smart today. The reason why this time is different in buy the rumor, sell the news is because it's a 50-50. There's like the rumor, like basically the rumor was this trade, right? So the rumor was this trade into up here. And then we sold into the news, which was this. Because technically it's a 50-50-ish, right? ETF gets approved, you go up, ETF gets denied, you go down. Everyone knows this. And there's no real news to be had before the news, right? And the SEC usually doesn't leak too much stuff, so you don't get insider trading. So there you go. Then you have like a situation that could go either good or bad. And if it goes bad, you go down. And if it goes good, it goes up. So it's not a traditional kind of buy the rumor, sell the news thing, because technically this is a non-directional kind of rumor beyond the first pump, obviously. But then again, like I knew that this was not good price action. That was why I was talking bearish, even though we had good news. But I didn't expect this to just completely nuke like this. Like that's a terrible look. Please tell us your gut feeling on ETF approval, please. My gut feeling is it's gonna be delayed. They're gonna say like, hey, we want to check this and that, and it's gonna be delayed. Give us more data on this and that, and it's gonna be delayed. That's my biggest. Like I think that's, if I had to put odds on it, I would say 40% delayed, 30% approved, and 30% denied. And that's kind of what I'm going with. So 70% that we're gonna get dumped on. But who knows? I don't have any insider information. I don't have any smart view on this. I have a few lawyer friends, and they're all over the place. And I have a few like trad market friends, and they're all over the place. It's just kind of like no one knows. It's roughly, I think it's roughly 50-50 on approved or denied, but there's also the chance of delay. An ETF equivalent got approved in the EU, and banks are allowed to hold 2% in Bitcoin now. Why does no one care? It's just narratives. The whole like ETF thing, like that's all a narrative, nothing more. It's the same with the halving. Like the reason why price goes up aggressive around the halving is not because the halving has a huge impact. It's just because a bunch of people are trading that narrative, and then it does have a big impact because a bunch of people, like more people than usual, are buying. There's less selling pressure. Wouldn't be the biggest deal if not for the narrative. So it's a narrative kind of thing. And also, the Americans just eat their stuff into markets. The Europeans do less so. And Jägers just says, like 5 seconds after I said that, Jäger says the US capital inflows are the best. And it's true. Like the US people just throw more money at stuff. The EU people tend to be more conservative. It's not just narrative. It takes much more hash rate for half the reward. Yes, but it's not like it changes anything significantly price-wise, or shouldn't. It's just basically you have less selling pressure, which is good, but it shouldn't lead to like a 10,000% increase like it has in the past. It's basically just people like, oh shit, other people are gonna buy, so I'm gonna buy too, and then people meme themselves into the halving having much more of an effect than it actually does. I mean, if you're like, oh, the halving has such a big impact on price, why is Litecoin not up a shitload? Right? Because the selling pressure should be gone. Like, it's half now. Like, but why is, like, the halving was up here at 95? Why is Litecoin trading at 65 if the selling pressure is half? Like, and this has been the case for a lot of assets in this space, and it's not like, you know, people are like, oh, it doesn't count because it's not Bitcoin. It's just, I think that's a pretty shitty argument. Don, can you chart Woo? No, and I will never. And I mean, whether, like, I'm not gonna, in general, like, you should probably not buy the token, at least not on my based on my recommendation or not recommendation. In general, I'm just not gonna talk about the token. I find that like a very bad thing to do in general. I find it stupid. When we were sponsored by FTX, I didn't talk about FTT, and always told people that exchange tokens have massive risk. It's the same still. I'm generally not the biggest fan of exchange tokens. But yeah. Don, what you think about today's price action? Is it notable after yesterday's dump or just a short squeeze? The reason why I think it's not really that notable is basically, and you look at this, and I hate this kind of stuff, but you had 2 good 4-hourly candles here. You had 2 good 4-hour candles here. I mean, is it notable? Yes, but then also it's just the S&P going up. Like, there's nothing out of the ordinary here. A BitMEX chart does look quite different from the Binance chart. This Binance chart looks horrendous. The BitMEX chart looks a little bit better. It's just based on, like, the BitMEX chart went completely out of whack, basically, after the nuke. And yeah, this chart looks terrible to me. This chart looks quite good. So you have to pick and choose. Don, what do you think about Nvidia earnings today? I think they're probably the hottest tech company at the moment. Yeah, but this is not my, like, I can open the chart, but this is not my expertise, right? This is like you asking your trash man whether you should be buying GME. Like, how the fuck would he know? He's a trash man. I'm a crypto guy. Like, you're asking the wrong person. Does this chart look bad? Obviously not. It's an all-time high. Do I buy this kind of stuff? Pretty much never. Should I probably buy this kind of stuff? Yes. Like, stuff that goes to all-time high is usually a good thing to buy, but I like, fuck no. It's not how my mind works. I buy stuff when it nukes. I could have bought it when it was like nuking to 120 whatever. I cannot, like, in clear conscience. Like if I buy here, I'm gonna sell the moment it goes below 400. And that's technically still a very good chart. Problem with Nvidia is that this could go to 320. It's still a really, really good chart. The GME at range lows, by the way. Yeah, I mean, GME is just going to go to zero, my friend. This is the GME chart. I mean, that's clearly bleeding out. And with retail getting shafted, I don't see how this does well. Crypto guy equals trash guy. Yeah, I mean, I was also talking about myself. So, but yeah, I think it's apt description. So yeah, so let's go back to Bitcoin. Because for some reason I just skipped a good part of it. As usual, I get distracted. But yeah, we're trading down here, and a bunch of people are like. Everyone actually is just looking at this 27.2k level, and they're like, okay, if this comes back above, it's good. If it stays below, it's bad. In my opinion, right? Unless we trade back above 28.8k, and I might change my mind on this, and I have changed my mind on this in the past. Unless we go back above 28.8k, it's all ETF reliant to me. As in, no matter what this does, I don't think it's going to be bullish or bearish, in the sense that it can all be overridden by the ETF. So any trade you take has to be a short-term trade, and then you have to look at the news, which I hate. I don't like those kind of trades, so you will not be seeing a lot of trading from me. And I'm going to miss most of the rally if this goes up, and I am okay with that because I have no edge. I'd rather not trade when I have no edge. Let's play a game. Take a shot every time Don says cool. Yeah, do I? Do I say that often? I think this is like this kind of stream. Like this would be a new one because I have a lot of things that I say often, but cool would be a new one. But yeah, the daily... as long as we're not back in this range, I am not going to do much. Or down here. Those are the two areas. Right now, like, yeah, I would like to do business. I would like to trade. I'm kind of feeling like I want to trade, but I'm holding myself back. And I had the same... I was like, oh, I want to trade. And then I looked at the market while I was doing this, and I was like, oh, but there's nothing. And it's the same kind of feeling again. Like, I want to take a trade, but there's nothing here, for me anyway. And yeah, ETH, same story, really. Like the ETH USD chart got rejected by the level that Cred and I kept talking about, and it looks kind of shit now. Yes, it's at support, right? Depending on how you draw support. But you have, like, if this was an inverse chart and you had this, right? Like you had a range, breakdown, reclaim, and then this. Like, this is what people would say, oh, this is an Adam and Eve bottom, whatever. Or like, oh, this is a higher low. But it's the inverse here. Technically lower high and rounded out. Like, that's not a good look. Could still go up, but I think that has to do a lot more to start looking good. One thing I will say, right, since like yesterday, I've been like, oh, this actually feels better than it has in a while. But when I look at the daily chart on the Binance pair, there's just pain, and there's not that much there. After how many years did you start to become profitable and stop making stupid decisions? I was profitable from my first year, and I have had not an unprofitable year since. And that sounds like typical kind of paid group bullshitting. But what you have to realize, right, is that my first year, and I mean, my first year was here, right? So basically, I bought pretty close to like 400, 500, 600 on Bitcoin, and that was my first year. And you could not make money. Like you'd have to be absolutely stupid, and I wasn't that dumb back then. And then my second year, 2017, was one of the craziest time in crypto. So you couldn't really lose either. And then in 2018, and this is something, I mean, there's articles about me, about my opinion on the market, but basically like I posted a bunch of stuff on Medium and on Twitter, so you can go back and check this, how I was bearish pretty much at the highs, right? So I was bullish, and then I started getting bearish around 16K, and I was very bearish for a long time, pretty much all the way down here. I had a few short-term trades, but mostly I was just bearish. And then I started being bullish here at 5K. And I got, that was the first time I actually took, a sizable spot loss. But I didn't actually sell anything because I was like, oh, I think this is still going to go up. So I've been very lucky in that regard. Didn't have a bad trading year in my career yet. But still time. Do you remember your worst trade? Like spot wise, I bought 5K, 4 point something here, and then it nuked to 3. So I got I took a pretty hefty loss. I didn't lose because I didn't close the trade, as in, I mean, it was a spot trade, but that was pretty bad. I was proper stressed. This stressed me out. And the thing was, I bought here and then went literally all in at 3 point something K, very close to the bottom. But at that point I was shitting bricks because I was risking everything that I had made during the bull market. And I was like, am I being dumb? I worked for this. I kept everything in the bear market, and now I'm gonna get fucked on a move below 6K. That was not fun, but it worked out in the end. And then trading wise, I was bearish somewhere in here. And that basically, I was very bullish down here. There's also a stream on Twitch that I did at the Pico bottom. And I was very bullish there. I was like, I mean, you have to buy here. I bought a bunch, went on stream. That was a legendary stream. We were all shitting bricks, right? The market went basically to 0. And I bought, and I threw on the stream, and everyone was just freaking the fuck out. That was a good one. But I sold way too early. I sold basically into 6K, and I was bearish from 6 to 8 or something. And really only started being bullish here at 10. So I missed out on quite a bit of this rally. But yeah, that was trading wise, that was not nice, because I could have made so much more. Spot wise, this was one where I was shitting bricks because I saw my entire gains vanish. I imagined my entire gains vanish, and there was I added leverage around 3K, below $100 in ETH, and I was like, fuck. So yeah. Can you send the link from the stream? I actually don't have it. Maybe someone has it. Twitch auto deletes after a while old streams, but I know that someone has it and someone uploaded it. I just don't know where it is. So yeah, good times, bad times, whatever you want to call it. Worked out in the end, but I got lucky basically. I had a really good time. Started out in the most bullish phase and didn't get sucked in at the top, and that kind of did it for me, right? If I didn't sell here, I would not be in crypto right now because this bear market was so brutal. I would have given back too much to survive. I never went back to working, and I would have had to go back to working if I took a massive hit in this bear market. But I didn't. Went out okay. Actually made money during this time, and turned out okay. But yeah. But yeah, the daily time frame gonna be interesting above 28k. I know that sucks because that's very far away, but it's just how it is. Like, wait for the. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm gonna wait for the SEC decision, yeah, that's just the only thing that I really have right now. Which doesn't make for a good stream, but that's just how it goes. And ETH, like I said, not that great. We've had a little bit of a micro uptrend on ETH BTC here, right? So we've been making higher highs and we've made higher lows. Problem is that's in a grander scheme downtrend. And if you're on the daily, you don't even see it, but on the weekly, you do. This is a downtrend, right? And that's quite dangerous because if this breaks down, it starts looking really bad. So ETH not that interesting either. Obviously can and probably will outperform at some point again, but I'm not holding my breath right now. I want to see this do something bullish or dump. Same as Bitcoin, really. Like on ETH BTC, I want to see this go low so I can buy it cheap. Like, people freak out that ETH is just not the future of finance, as a lot of people seem to think right now. I want to see that dump, or I want to just see it cemented, right? As in, it goes higher, and then I can see myself buy it, and maybe then it starts breaking out. Solana, a bunch of people have been talking about it. It is in a uptrend-ish on the USD pair. Low, high, higher, low, higher, high. But it ran into resistance, right? And if you look on any time frame, really, that's massive resistance. Same here on the Bitcoin pair. That's massive resistance on both the monthly and the weekly. And the Bitcoin pair is in a downtrend still, right? So that's a tough buy for me. It's one of the better looking altcoins. So if you want to be trading altcoins, Sol seems cool. Oh, I said it again. So someone's getting drunk tonight. But yeah, it's not for me. I want to see it above 30-ish. And that's quite a bit away from where it is right now. But it's an altcoin. And you're not going to see me buy altcoins when they're not particularly bullish. Especially not if I'm not super, super bullish on Bitcoin. If I was bullish on Bitcoin, I could see myself buy Solana. And it's actually like when I was thinking about taking a trade yesterday, I was thinking about buying Solana yesterday, because it's been outperforming. Like, it's been underperforming when Bitcoin goes down, but it's been outperforming on the bounces, and that's the same thing that's been happening today, right? You had a good day on Bitcoin, you have a good day on Solana. Don, how tall are you? Almost 2 meters, not quite though. So 6 foot something. I don't know in American units. Don, have you ever been to England? Yeah, a bunch of times. So yeah, that's that. Like, there's not that much there. And Dogecoin, like, I saw a post from Dogecoin Millionaire today where it was like, at the highs I had 3 million in Dogecoin and now it's 50,000. What happened? And it's not like that's the first time that's happened, right? Dogecoin down 90% in USD terms. That's quite the dump. And honestly, I don't see why Dogecoin would be the pick of anyone. There's so many holders, including that Dogecoin Millionaire guy. If you pump this thing, you have to bail all of them out, right? So if Elon Musk doesn't get his God status back, because a lot of people just fucking hate him now, right? Like, if you go on the subreddit of Elon Musk, like, a bunch of people are just like it used to be his fan club, and now people are like, he's a moron, right? And his kind of image has shifted massively. And if he doesn't get that image back and uses it to pump Doge, this is just gonna bleed out like a lot of the older coins. We have better meme coins now. Don't really see the point. And then if you go through the list, obviously a bunch of other shit. All of it looks not that great. I mean, Pepe has been struggling. But I mean, if I had to take a pick between Pepe and Doge, I'd pick Pepe, and I fucking hate it. Like, I hate that coin and what it stands for. But if I had to take a trade on either one of them, I'd take it on Pepe. You and Tree of Alpha are number one haters of Elon. I mean, I'm not even like, the thing is, like, I liked Elon and I like the companies that he started, right? And what they stand for, basically. As in, like, it was pretty obvious that you would have to get electric vehicles more accessible. And I mean, Tesla does that. And I love the idea of SpaceX. So on paper, I should be a big fan. I just don't like the way he treats people, and I don't like the way he acts. And the whole "I'm a god" attitude, just, I mean, that's just disgusting to me. I don't know why people are so in love with that. I see people that do that, and I'm immediately like, fuck no. And he does it too much. So that's why I dislike him on a personal level. But my criticism on what he does is basically just that. Like, if I see something that he does well, I would comment on it too. Just lately, he's been doing very little well, and a lot of shit has gone quite poorly. So, frogs over dogs any day. Yeah, at least in crypto. But yeah, the next interesting one is BNB, and that's been in the headlines. It's been everywhere, really, and it's also at range low, right? So technically speaking, if you're bullish, this is the place where you would want to look for longs. The problem is, this is the range, right? And this is BNB versus Bitcoin, but this is the range, and we had the false range breakout. You would expect at least a false range breakdown. And on BNB USD, you kind of, like, you have a bigger range here, mid-range up here, and you're kind of leaning on support quite heavily. This didn't have a range fake out, the upside, but it looks like Bitcoin did at 6K, right? It's quite heavy on the support. The reason why I don't short this is because if CZ does anything, like, he can rescue this thing. It will cost him quite a bit, I think, but he can rescue this thing. And not forever, but for long enough to fuck people over that are shorting it. And if you short on Binance and this thing nukes because Binance is in trouble, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. So I don't really think there's a short trade here. But it's a nice kind of chart to look at if you want to gauge the risk in the market. And right now, given this is range low, I think there's quite a bit. Because if this breaks down, people are starting to panic. And it doesn't even have to mean that Binance has problems. It's just like, if they cannot uphold the BNB price, people are going to assume Binance has problems. And that can lead to problems even if there are none, right? So that's why this is so important to hold. So far it has been, but it's been quite heavy. And doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. I could see this hold, honestly. But if it doesn't, we're going to see lower prices. And I think that's not going to just be on BNB. I think that's going to be on everything. Dawn, I heard rumors that Capo is friends, acquaintances with Andrew Tate. Is this true? How would I know? I think Andrew Tate is one of the bigger morons on the planet. I mean, he's not. The things he says are moronic to me. Like, he says a bunch of stuff that is common knowledge and that is completely makes sense, right? Like, that every idiot would understand that makes sense. And then he says a bunch of bullshit, and people are like, but he was right on the complete common sense stuff, so the bullshit has to be right too. And it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling how, like, people fall for this shit. Completely I mean, I'm just like stunned by it. It's the simplest trick in the world, right? You say something that everyone will agree to, and then you say the most outrageous dumb shit, and people are like, oh, but he's not crazy. He says these like very logical things. So maybe there's more to this crazy shit that he says afterwards. And I'm just like, so asking me about Andrew Tate and his friends doesn't make much sense, because I mean, you could not pay me enough to watch 15 minutes of his content. Like, it's absolute, completely mind-numbingly dumb. Like, it's just completely, I do not understand how anyone can watch it. But there's people that like it. There's people that like content that I disagree with, and that's okay by me. But yeah, my personal opinion is it's dumb shit. I see a lot of people saying CZ manipulated Bitcoin price. Do you think it's true, Doug? I mean, he has an impact, but I'm not necessarily sure that he can that he can manipulate it. I don't think anyone can really. If you try to manipulate Bitcoin price, you get run over. We've had that a lot of times actually, where people have tried, and you can do it for a little bit, and then you get liquidated eventually. Just doesn't work. Amadou says, Tate says random knowledge like the gym is good for you, and then spews random misogynistic things, and people say, to be fair, he has some good things. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying. Like, I can say veggies, like eating veggies is good for your diet at some like from time to time, and then I can say, and that's why you should eat tree bark, whatever. And it's like, and you're like, oh, he said veggies are good for you, as so the tree bark thing, and then I mean, in before someone's going to come out and it's going to give me a study of why eating tree bark is going to be good, but you get the point, right? Like, I can say stuff that people agree with and then just say the dumbest shit, and that doesn't make the dumb shit any more true. But it's a good way. Like, if you want to grift people, apparently that's what you do. There's definitely people that make the markets move. Nomad can move Bitcoin, Elon can move Doge, and CZ can move BNB. For time, yes. Low time frame, yes. High time frame, absolutely no. It's not how it works. Like, you try to, it's basically like the markets are like a river, right? It flows in a way that it would naturally, and then you can put like something in its path, and it might like go like somewhere else for a while, but it will always flow down river, right? You're not gonna be able to make the river move upstream. It's not how it works. You can divert it for a while, and you can make it flow somewhere where it was originally not meant to be, but you cannot do this long term. It doesn't work. And everyone that has tried to make that happen has been liquidated. Trust me on this. Like, it just doesn't work. Obviously, like, if you have like a tiny market, you can manipulate it, yes. But like the bigger market, it's just not how it works. And yeah, sometimes, like for example, you see a bunch of people at risk for liquidation, and I can tweet something out or like take a position, and maybe I can get them liquidated, right? But the market is gonna like engulf that or go the way it wants to go afterwards anyway. Like, they don't have an impact. How is Nomad able to manipulate Bitcoin? No, it's just like Nomad actually, like, he was like, if someone sold 100 Bitcoin right now, we would get like a liquidation cascade. And then a bunch of people were like, no, that's not true. And then allegedly, I don't know if he actually did or not, but him tweeting it was already enough. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't sell 100 Bitcoin. But basically the market put in a liquidation cascade. But what happened is basically it liquidated and then went back to where it was, which is why I'm saying, like, if he was like, oh, this is a liquid, like, I'm going to make price move down, and then he sold a bunch and he sold more and he sold more, eventually he would get run over. So Like people are always like, oh, this is manipulated in this and that way. Yes, you can do that short term. You cannot do it long term. Trust me. Unless you're like Satoshi, then maybe you have an impact because you can make the market move by your presence alone. Because basically, if Satoshi sells, the market is going to go down, not necessarily just because of what he sells, but also what that would mean. So there you go. I think that's more than plenty. I think the most interesting chart to watch is BNB. Second most is Bitcoin, and the most important thing to watch is the news, which is fucking bad. Sorry to say it. It's not something I usually say. Oftentimes you can see stuff in the charts before the news come out, because people are just insider trading. But with this one, I don't see it. I don't think there's much you can take advantage of. Traded low time frame. The high time frames are relatively, they're bearish right now anyway, and two, they're relatively meaningless, because if you get an ETF approval, this bearish setup that we have right now will be run over, and if we get an ETF denial, it will play out. So you're kind of at the mercy of the market, or like at the mercy of legislation, whatever. Hey Don, can you give us some wisdom on lower time frame trading, please? Don't do it. I'm not doing it, right? Like when the market, the one wisdom that I can give you, you can only trade low time frames, in my opinion, and this is from someone that just doesn't do it that much, when the market is in a particularly good state, as in like the market is in up only mode. You can see that volume is flowing in, not out of the market. When that happens, you can trade low time frames and there's money to be made. But when the market is like it is right now, the volume is flowing out and stuff is kind of getting boring, that's not the times where you want to be trading low time frames. That's my wisdom. You have to have particularly good market conditions, like back here. Like it sounds dumb because this was a high time frame uptrend, right? But this is where you can trade the low time frames. This is where you can trade the low time frames. This was where you could trade it. So on big nukes, you can do it. On good days, you can do it. Like on good weeks, basically. But like when you're trading low time frames in this regime or in this, more likely than not, you're gonna lose a bunch of money. And my advice is just not do it. It's too hard. You're more likely than not to lose money. And anyone that tells you otherwise, I think, has ulterior motives. They're either going to try to sell you a paid group, they're going to try to get you on their ref link and make a bunch of money that way, or look like a genius to sell you something down the line. Because pretty much everyone in the market that has been in the market for a while knows that low time frame traders over a long enough time period will lose money unless they're super, super good at what they're doing. Is it possible for Binance to stay solvent with BNB nuking? Yes. There's a good chance, actually. Just because BNB nukes doesn't mean Binance is insolvent. But if BNB nukes, people will think it is insolvent, which could lead to great buying opportunities, right? With current BNB price, would you move to another exchange if you were trading on Binance? I don't have any money on Binance, and I don't trade on Binance anymore. That's my personal opinion. It's what I do personally. If Binance does something like FTX did, and you are exposed to crypto, it will not make much of a difference, I think, whether you are in it and your balance goes to zero, or whether you're in Bitcoin or anything else and your balance goes to near zero too. So, like, it's a little bit of a foolish game. Like, if you have stables on Binance, I would not want to have that. I think 90% of the time, Binance is going to be okay. But I wouldn't want to deal with the 10%. I'm too careful for that nowadays. Now, if you value their liquidity enough and you can kind of make sure that you don't lose everything if they go down, fair enough. I don't think Binance has much more, like, the thing is, like, a lot of exchanges have the risk of going to zero, right? It's not only Binance. So it's tough to say, hey, you should be selling your stuff on Binance and send it over to whatever else exchange, right? I think there's a handful of exchanges that I trust, and even those I don't really trust. I trust Coinbase, I trust Kraken, and I trust Wu to an extent. And that's basically it. And I would not have money on either of them just because. I only have money in any of them because I'm trading, right? Especially when the market is shit. Because when the market is doing really well, I feel very, very comfortable having money on exchanges because they're printing a shitload. Right? Like, exchanges print, you don't have to worry about them going insolvent because why would they? They're making so much money, it's very, very unlikely. But the moment you start entering a bear market or a market where volume leaves, you need to be more risk averse, right? Because those exchanges that printed before and that had a shitload of money that they spent on a bunch of bullshit have much, much less money all of a sudden. And then everything is more at risk. So basically, the worse the market is, the more likely it is that you get fucked by an exchange. So I don't mind having money on exchanges and trading very actively during, like, good times. But when the market is shitty, you have to have a little bit less risk, at least less concentrated risk, in my opinion. Did Gox rock during a bear market? I actually don't know. I wasn't around. Like, I was around, but I wasn't actively looking at the market. I don't know if you guys know my history, but I was trying to buy Bitcoin below $1, and then I couldn't. And then, yeah, and I was like tilted beyond belief. It took me quite a while to get back in. But yeah, I mean, someone that's been around, you can go back through the charts and check it. I don't know. Gox was a different story altogether in general. Like, they were completely incompetent and they basically lost a shitload of money doing dumb shit. I don't think that's necessarily something that should be happening these days. Where do you save your coins if not in exchanges? I'm looking for a safe way to hold my Bitcoin. I mean, it depends on how technical of a person you are, right? Like, how good of a handle do you have on computers in general? Because I think you have quite a bit of risk storing your Bitcoin yourself if you don't know what you're doing. And that's kind of the shitty part about crypto, right? Like, if you're not good at crypto, there's a good chance, and even if you're good at crypto, there's a good chance that you're going to lose your money anyway. And yeah, it's tough. For me personally, how I've run things since I started crypto is I just have an air-gapped laptop, right? A laptop that is never connected to the internet, and basically that's how I run things. Or how I used to anyway. Right now I don't have money in crypto, right? Like, I'm not holding anything. But that's back when I was investing still. Nowadays, like, what I do is I have money on exchange. I trade it, like, I'm active in a trade, and then I sell it and withdraw from the exchange. And I just take the risk of the exchange going bust. But back in the day when I was investing, I would just do it with an air-gapped device. Anyway, that's that. Can we find the COVID bottom live stream anywhere? If anyone has the COVID live stream downloaded that is watching this, can you upload it to YouTube or whatever, so I can like, people can watch it? That'd be cool. If not, I don't know where it is. Someone had it. Like someone told me they had it. So yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Let me know. And yeah. WC says, I didn't know you used to stream on Twitch, or was it on YouTube? No, it wasn't Twitch. I streamed on Twitch for years before YouTube. You should upload it to Technical Roundup as well. Yeah, if someone uploads it to YouTube, I'll see what I can do. Just write me DM or something, or write it in the comments here, and then we'll see what we can do. Anyway, I'll call it a day. My fiance has been cooking. I can smell it. So I'm gonna end the stream and eat. But yeah, appreciate you guys coming by. Big shout out to Woo for sponsoring the show. Really appreciate their support. They're cool people. Cool exchange. They do good stuff. So go check them out. Links are in the description. But like I said, with any exchange that you're trading on, only have the money that you're prepared to lose. And this is like not just like like the dumb shit people say. It's actually true, right? Like any exchange that you're trading on, especially when the times are tough, which they are right now. They might get better, but right now they're tough. Be a little bit more risk averse on that front. So yeah, thanks for coming by. We'll hang out again next Wednesday. And there's probably going to be a show with Cred on Friday. So look forward to that. See you guys soon. Bye-bye. Have a nice rest of your week.